Hey there guys, it's Stavman here and welcome to my latest upload. This is my Cardiff City Football Club FIFA 14 Ultimate Team card predictions and card stats for the starting 11 that I think will feed for the majority of next year. If you think they're biased, remember I'm a Cardiff fan. I've tried my best to be fair. I think they're all fair apart from Kimbo's. I think Kimbo's is probably a little bit biased because I'm in love with this guy. But I think all of them are quite fair. I've taken age and everything into consideration. Like I said, age, form, expectations, the difference between the Championship and the Premiership. I've tried to take like everything into consideration. So I hope you find them fair, guys, and I hope you enjoy the video. Alright then, guys, so I'm going to start with our number one, David Marshall. I've upgraded him from, I believe he was a 70 last year, bumped him up to a 72, simply because he was absolutely immense for us last season, and I mean like beyond. It took a while for people to realize how important he was to our title winning season. Like he was probably player of the season for me. He was absolutely incredible. I mean the Huddersfield game, the first game we played last season, home game. We won it because of this guy. I know Hudson scored the goal, but Marshall. And it was just so many games like this last season, where it was only after the game you were kind of walking home. You were like, wow, Marshall made four huge saves during that game. I didn't really notice, to be honest, and he was such a vital person to this the title last season. He was absolutely incredible. So I had to bump up his dive in and his reflexes. As you can see, I've given him 74 dive in, 75 reflexes, which is justified if you watch him last year. The only downside to Marshall is handling and positioning from corners really needs some improvement. He needs to improve kind of bossing his 6 yard box. He was very, very poor, and his kicking's high because his kicking is beyond accurate. He likes doing these little cheeky dinks over to the left and right wing, but kind of shorter dinks than you'd normally see. So his kicking was absolutely immense, and I had to bump him up. I couldn't help it. Moving on to our left back, Andrew Taylor, didn't overly impress me last year. I've made him a 67 overall. He shows some really decent pace for last season. His dribbling was also quite decent, to be fair to him. He's just defending wise, he doesn't make it as a left back for me at all. I mean, he's quite attacking, which don't get me wrong, in modern day football you need, but his positioning is beyond shit, and he just needs to improve on his defensive side of the game, I think, for next season. Moving on to one of our centre backs, and probably one of the only few goals that I've actually made in this team. Stephen Corker, how can he not be a gold, really? His performances for Spurs last year were brilliant for such a young age. He shows really, really, really good pace, but he also shows some absolute brickwork defending. I mean, the guy's a wall when he wants to be. Brilliant in the air. I've given him a 76 overall. Probably more justified to a 75 considering his slow start to the season. But I made these cards before the West Ham and Man City game. But probably would edge him towards a 75 now, considering his first two starts. But I don't think I'm really too far off with this. I think he justifies it with the way he played for Spurs. Moving on to fellow centre back and most importantly, captain Mark Hudson. Couldn't do too much with him, to be honest. I know he had a fantastic season last season, but I'm also taking his age into consideration and the fact that he's not match fit all the time anymore. I mean, his defending is still there. His pace is really, really slowing down now. You could tell towards the end of last season he was really struggling to get back into positions. But his position is so good anyway. He holds back really deeply. And I think 69 is completely fair for him. And on to fan favourite and one of my favourite players, Kevin McNaughton. How could I not do him a card? I mean, I think his pace has slowed down dramatically. Just last season he didn't seem to be quite as quick. I want to see him score a goal so badly. His defensive work is kind of average. He's not much better than Taylor anymore, to be honest. He's also getting on quite a bit now. Um, yeah, I think his pace, which is the kind of main factor about his game, is just slowing down a little bit. So I couldn't really do too much with this card, and I think 70 is completely fair. On to left midfielder and Prince of Wales, Craig Bellamy. I know a lot of Cardiff fans are going to be disappointed with my judgment here, but just hear me out a little bit. You can tell he's not as quick as he used to be. His work rate is absolutely insane, but his pace just ain't there. His shooting ain't there really anymore. He's still got the dribbling. He's still got the ability to turn defenders inside out. And he's still got the kind of diagonal ball and crossing kind of side of his game. But you got to remember he's getting on quite a bit now, guys. And I think a 74 rating is completely fair for him. Next up, we have our second gold card and the Pitbull Gary Medel. He's been the standout player in the first two games, the most obvious good player, in my opinion. I put him as a CDM. I think he's better in that position. His defensive attributes are fucking insane. He is so good, and his work rate is unbelievable. He still has a lot of pace as well. I've got a real good feeling that this guy's going to be OP as hell in FIFA 14. So make sure you go out and buy yourselves a Gary Medel, guys. Alongside him, we have Championship Wizard Peter Whitnam. The guy's passing, absolutely unreal. I had to upgrade him. I definitely think he'll have an upgrade. Another hugely talked about transfer player. You know, every Premier League side wanted him. He still doesn't want to go, and he got his rewards by taking us to the Prem. Shooting unbelievable. Pace is definitely improved from last year, and his passing is just absolutely immense. And I'm hoping they justify it with his free kick stats this year as well. I hope they definitely give him his fair free kick stats. And I think 72 is definitely fair rating for him. Next, I've got right midfielder. Yes, I said right midfielder. I know he's a left midfielder, but personally, we played him so many times as a right midfielder last year, and he's so much better as a right midfielder. I'm making him a right midfielder in this game, and he definitely deserved an upgrade. I mean, he was insane last year. Definitely deserves to have the stats he's got on screen. I mean, his shooting's probably a little bit better than 60, but we didn't really see too much of it. It's just when we did see it, it wasn't pretty insane. So I don't know if he can do it consistently or not. It'd be interesting to see. But I mean, this guy's pace and dribbling is insane. He's got the ability to turn defenders inside out. And I rate Craig Noon really highly, and that's why I've given him a 70 overall. Playing just in front of those midfield four in kind of a central attacking midfield role is probably my most ambitious rating. Kimbo Young, I think, is going to be an incredible player in 3, 4 years' time. I think he'll be better than the next Jason Park, if that makes sense. The guy is incredible. It's as simple as that. I mean, he shows you can tell by the card stats I've given him what I think of him. His overall game is pretty much perfect. He created innings with, a Bolton run against Man City, created our equaliser. I personally think that stats are justified. You might not agree with it, but I think it's probably my only most ambitious kind of rating for a Cardiff player, and probably my only biased rating. Last and after that Manchester City performance, most certainly not least, we're going to go with Fraser Campbell. Going to be the most overpowered silver striker in the Premier League. Make sure you buy him early to make some money off him. He'll be very good, guys, and I really do think he's going to be one of the most favoured silver Premier League strikers. He was when he was at Sunderland in last year's game, so make sure you go out and buy a Fraser Campbell. I think I've justified him with a 72 rating. I mean, his pace is immense, his shooting and finishing has improved so much. I had to bump up, obviously, his heading after the Man City game. And I think he's going to be a really good player next year, guys. So make sure you go out and buy yourselves a Fraser Campbell. But that does sum up the video, guys. I hope you agreed with the majority of the ratings. If you didn't, I'm sorry. And post your alternative ratings down below. Don't be afraid to disagree with me and tell me what you think was right. And hopefully, guys, after you've liked and subscribed, hopefully, guys, I'll see you next time.